for our spotlight. And man, we have been getting some awesome guests lately, and today is no different.
Mhm.
Today's spotlight is on Mayor Patrick Wojahn. Hey, Patrick, welcome to the show.
Hello, hello. Good to see y'all. Good to
Hi.
be here.
Thanks for
Thanks for
coming.
having me today.
Let me introduce Patrick to our audience. Patrick was born and raised in Wisconsin, received his law degree from Georgetown University, and has served as mayor of the city of College Park, Maryland since 2015 after serving 8 years on the city council. He also works as the director of government relations at Rails to Trails Conservancy. And in his career, he's worked as an advocate and champion for people with disabilities, people living with AIDS, environmental sustainability, the College Park Community Food Bank, and Equality Maryland, Maryland's LGBTQ civil rights organization. And as mayor, he worked with the University of Maryland to make College Park a top-tier college town. Believe me, you can't imagine how much College Park has progressed since 2015. My friend and the mayor, Patrick Wojahn. Thanks for joining us today.
Good to be here. Thanks, Neo. And perhaps more importantly, I'm actually Neo's neighbor. He lives just down the street from me, so I go by his house on a regular basis.
Literally one block away.
Things about him. Yeah.
Right.
So it's great to be here. I know you said that the no cussing rule doesn't apply to guests, but it does apply to me because I just found out that my parents are watching. So shout out to Karen and Dennis Boyan in Green Bay, and my sister, and also her 4 kids. So I can't cuss either. I'll get in
Happy
trouble.
to see you guys.
If I cuss.
Mayor, that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure for me.
I know, right?
It is.
I'll keep it clean.
So I have to ask, how are you and your husband holding up through these COVID days? Are you guys surviving, struggling?
Yeah, we're doing okay. I mean, College Park, we've got a lot of challenges because we've got the university community here. Of course, the College Park is the home of the flagship campus of the University System of Maryland, the University of Maryland in College Park. And we've had a lot of challenges because when COVID hit, the student population basically disappeared. They all went scattered to the 4 winds. And because of that, it was pretty quiet for several months, but then they all came back in September. And we've been navigating how to do that safely, how to incorporate the student population safely back into the city. In terms of what we've been doing here, my husband and me, we've been working from home a lot, as most of us are, as so many of us are, and we've been doing a lot of carry out. As mayor, I feel it's my role to be the Mr. Chamber of Commerce, as my husband Dave says, and pitching the restaurants that we still have open here. So every night when we order carry out, and we do it about 3 times a week, we post pictures of it to show what great food we have. I feel like I want to keep all my babies alive, my restaurants, keep them going here in College Park. So we've been kind of having fun with that. But it's been really busy. It's been a challenging several months, but we're keeping things going as best we can.
All right, now before we get into the interview, I want to tell you guys a quick story about Patrick. Everyone on the show knows that my wife Mel owns a fitness studio, Posh Cycling and Fitness, Posh.fit. Make sure you check it out. But honestly, I don't know if the studio would exist without Patrick. For years, Mel had been telling me she wants to open a studio, and I was like, let's do it. But she'd never felt confident enough to actually get started. Then one day she got inspired and decided she was going to send an email to the mayor of College Park just to tell him her idea and see if there was any financial help or anything like that. And let me tell you, Patrick responded almost immediately and set up a meeting for her with him, the city business manager, and the guy in charge of grants, right? And they basically ended up pitching her to open her studio in the city. I'm telling you, Mel walked away completely inspired. And from then on, I saw a fire in her that just didn't stop. And of course, the rest is history because Posh Cycling and Fitness is right here in the city of College Park. And I know I've thanked you before, but we definitely appreciated your support with that.
And you might be too modest to say this, but Posh last year was for the first time we decided to declare to designate a small business of the year, and Posh for the first time was our inaugural for 2019 small business of the year for College Park. So Posh has given back to the community in countless ways. It's a great business. I've had a chance to take a couple of classes there. I did a boxing class. It was a lot of fun.
He did. You got video. I should have put it in. I should have added to the show. I forgot about that. All right. Now, can you tell the audience a little bit more about yourself, how you got started in politics, and also what was the value you saw in getting specifically into local politics?
Yeah. So my husband and I moved to College Park in 2003, and I right away wanted to get involved in the community. I had been involved in LGBTQ civil rights movement in different ways throughout my time at the University of Wisconsin in Madison, where I went to undergrad. And then when I moved out to after finishing law school, moved out to Maryland, wanted to get involved locally in activism, and we. Dave and I became one of the plaintiff couples in the marriage equality lawsuit for the state of Maryland. That was a lawsuit that unfortunately we lost, but then we went on to, as everyone probably knows, we lost that battle. We won the war. Ultimately, Maryland approved marriage equality in 2012 by being one of the first states in the country to win at the ballot box for equal marriage rights for same-sex couples. And while I was doing that, I wanted to raise awareness. We were in the media a lot, raise awareness here in the city of College Park. I tried to get a resolution passed through the city council to support the effort, the lawsuit. Unfortunately, I wasn't successful, but by doing that, I got to know our local civic association. I got to know the people who were on the city council at that time. And in 2007, there came a couple of vacancies open on our city council, so I decided to run. I also, one of the reasons why we moved to College Park was we really saw a lot of potential for College Park to be a great university community. Having gone to school at the University of Wisconsin in Madison, I love that the atmosphere that a university creates, and that was one of the reasons why we chose College Park as our home. But we saw potential that wasn't realized because there was a lot of tension at the time between the city and the university. The community is also a bedroom community for Washington D.C. So it didn't quite have the link that we have between the city and the university. One of my goals is really to leverage the resources and the benefit of having a university here. To make College Park a top-tier university community, to really bring the exciting and quirky small businesses that often come with universities, the commercial districts, the variety of restaurants, and all the amenities like great places to walk and bike, great parks. To me, you asked why local politics are important, and I think local politics are really where so many things that are decided on a day-to-day basis that impact our lives, those decisions are made. So I think local government is it's exciting to be part of. You have a direct contact between us as elected officials and the residents that we serve. I talk to my residents in the grocery store all the time, my constituents, which I love. I get to hear from them all the time. So it's fun and I enjoy it.
And do you have any aspirations beyond mayor, like maybe president, like maybe judge, maybe jump straight from mayor to president? Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a few steps that I would have to go in between them there, but I am thinking about what I might do next. I've been mayor. This is now my third term as mayor. And as much as I love the local level of government, I do think a lot of my passions are in things like sustainability and civil rights, and those are things that I think I could have even more of a make more of a difference on the state level or on the county level. So I'm looking at those options.
Okay, and before I'm going to turn things over to my co-host, but let's talk about national politics. What are your thoughts on Trump? Biden right now. Oh, and I have a video of you that I'd like to share.
All right, here I am about to drop my ballot off. Here to vote in the 2020 elections, 2020 presidential election. I'm here with a bunch of mayors. Mayor over Prince George's County. Drop my ballot in.
And can you also talk about your thoughts on Trump claiming widespread voter fraud?
Well, there's no evidence of that. Clearly, I think he's preparing for his loss if he does lose, and you can.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
It's pretty apparent where my political beliefs lie. But if he does lose, then I think he's preparing to be able to blame it on something else. He won't let his ego admit that he's lost because of anything that he's done. So he has to find other things to blame it on. Like he's gonna throw everything up against the wall and see what sticks. If he claims voter fraud or emails, Hunter's emails or something like that, he's going to say everything is to blame for his loss except for himself.
Yeah. Let me turn things over to Rob B real quick. Oh, and by the way, just before he jumps in, just to let you know, this show is very anti-Trump, so don't worry about that. We are openly anti-Trump.
We are?
I couldn't tell.
We're not anti-Republican, or we're very bipartisan. We're just anti-Trump. All right.
I think that's a fair statement.
Sorry about that. Go ahead, Rob B.
No worries. First off, Patrick, kudos on your green transportation and infrastructure projects, your support of the LGBT community and involvement in all kinds of social projects in your community. Wonderful altruistic endeavors and to be commended. So kudos.
Thank you.
I am very curious what some of your biggest challenges have been in running the day-to-day operations of College Park, given the inconsistent messaging from federal, state, and local authorities vis-a-vis the COVID pandemic.
Yeah, that's been a real challenge because I talked about the students coming back in the fall, and we've been very, very forthright that this is not a year like any other. It can't be a year like any other here in College Park. The types of parties and large gatherings that we typically see in the fall when the students come back just couldn't happen, as they could become super spreader events. And we've been reinforcing that message constantly and reinforcing the need to wear masks, the need to not gather or have people crowd into bars like they usually do, the need to social distance, and for the most part, the students have gotten that. The students have been great. But when we have people on the national level, when we have our president even saying things like masks, he doesn't understand why masks are important, or this is just going to go away. We don't need to worry about this virus. The virus isn't that serious. That really sends a conflicting message to the people that we really need to be able to cooperate with us and work together with us to prevent this from being any worse than it already has been.
Yep. Lizzie?
So I want to ask, this week, we all know that even though it's not a very popular nomination, we know that Amy Coney Barrett is probably 99% is going to be confirmed as the next Supreme Court justice. And she has consistently been evasive on LGBTQ issues, rights, gay marriage. So does that make you nervous? Like, what is your initial reaction to having her as our next Supreme Court judge?
It does make me very nervous, and the majority in all the cases like Obergefell and Windsor, all those cases have been decided very closely on a 5-4 or 6-3 basis. And to have now we had this administration has put 3 new justices on the court that could really threaten LGBTQ equality. Amy Coney Barrett is known as being very conservative, as having religious views that may not allow her to recognize LGBTQ equality. So that is very concerning to me, and I hope that precedent will hold, that the powerful decisions that have come out in the last few years that they remain in place. But I am very concerned about my own relationship with my husband, about our legal relationship, about the legal relationship and the rights of LGBTQ people all over the country.
Robbie, you had a
When,
similar. Oh, go ahead.
all right, go ahead. Go ahead.
I do have a question to kind of follow up with that. Very recently, Pope Francis came forward and recognized civil unions, same-sex civil unions. Now, I know that Amy, just a staunch Catholic, and let's be honest, her personal views are impacted by her religious views. So now the pontiff, the higher order, has said, hey, rule change, we're okay with this. So I'm just curious if you believe that there are going to be some deep ramifications just as far as the American psyche is concerned when it comes to the religious right, when we're dealing with a large number of Catholics in the US.
Yeah, well, let me just say, I think what Pope Francis did was a big step, but it's only in some ways, but it's also not full legal marriage equality. He's suggesting civil unions. I think it's important that there is a separation of church and state, and there are many religions in our country that fully embrace and accept equal marriage rights for same-sex couples. My husband and I, my husband was raised Catholic, and we attend a Catholic mass. It's an organization called Dignity Washington, which is a Catholic mass that accepts and embraces full equality of the personhood of the LGBT community, and as a result is not officially recognized by the Catholic Church. But we were married in a ceremony through Dignity, and it's important that our government recognize that there are many religions that do fully embrace equal marriage rights. So what Pope Francis said, he doesn't recognize the diversity of religious beliefs even within the Catholic Church, because there are many Catholics who believe that same-sex couples are fully sanctioned under God. So it's a step, but it's not going all the way there. I am also concerned that I'm not sure that Amy Coney Barrett, based on her membership in I'm blanking on the name of the organization, but the organization that had the hand they used to call them handmaidens. That it is a conservative. She seems to veer more towards a conservative.
I'd never heard that before.
The handmaidens, like the Handmaid's Tale. It's the Pilgrims of Christ or something like that.
Oh, really?
I'm getting it
I'm going
wrong.
to look that up. Look it up right now.
But her views have tended to veer more towards the conservative Catholic doctrine. So whether she, first of all, I mean, I'm not sure that what the Pope says should influence what she's doing. It should be more influenced by the separation of church and state, in my opinion. But I'm not sure that she would necessarily even follow what the Pope is saying on that issue.
Did you have a follow-up question, Lizzie? I have a similar
I was
question.
just going to ask, so in terms of, we already talked, mentioned briefly small businesses and how they have been affected by the pandemic, but then also the university in College Park, University of Maryland, and how that's affected not only the university itself, but the community surrounding the university. But what other issues have you seen hit College Park hard over the past, 7, almost 8 months now?
Yeah, well, clearly the issue of race and equity has been highlighted by George Floyd's death and Breonna Taylor's death, and we were even before those things happened, we were focusing more and more on race and equity in College Park. We have participated in the last year with the Government Alliance on Race and Equity and the Metropolitan Washington Council of Governments on a cohort, looking at our policies and our practices as a city and making sure that we infuse racial equity as a primary consideration in everything that we do. Since the George Floyd's death and since the Black Lives Matter movement became more prominent, once again, reminded about how bias is inherent in the way that we police our communities in the United States. We have been working to take steps to address that. College Park doesn't have a police force. I should start by saying, but we work with the county police, the University of Maryland Police Department, and we actually are very heavily policed as a community. So we've been engaging since then with the various communities that do serve College Park, looking at their policies on use of force and what they're doing in response to how they're being held accountable in response to things that have happened recently.
How did College Park look over the summer in the midst of all of this social unrest, if you will, especially in DC, where there were a lot of protests, there was a lot of social activism? Were there protests in College Park? Is there, even though you don't have a specific police department, was there still a cry for defund whatever policing or law enforcement that you have?
Yeah. So I attended a protest that we had. I wouldn't say it was huge, but it was a good showing from our community. Since most of the students had left College Park, I think if the students had
I think
been
it would have
around,
been bigger if the students were here, though.
Yeah.
right. But we had a good turnout we were out on Baltimore Avenue, Route 1, right by the university, holding signs as people were driving by. And I held a sign that said "Justice for George Floyd," and it was great to get everybody together and to just come together in a common cause. We also had a vigil at one of our local churches for Black Lives. I got together with a number of interfaith members of various denominations, religions around the community, and we held a day-long interfaith online vigil for Black Lives Matter. So we've had a couple of very we wanted to respond as a community and bring the community to get together to show support for Black lives, and did that in several different ways.
Yeah. So I want to take this a little more nationally. So the similar question, because police brutality has been around since before the Jim Crow era, so it's been around forever. But and I know you did a lot to bring light to Black Lives Matter. You know, you passed a resolution, stating that Black Lives Matter. But there's a lot of people that believe the Democratic Party has failed Black people. What do you think? And what do you think the party can do to change the minds of people that feel like that?
Well, I certainly think there is more that the Democratic Party can do. And I think there will be a big test if the Democrats win the White House and win the Senate and the House, that then I think we'll have a limited amount of time to really be able to address racial equity in the country, and they will have to take bold steps to do that, to reinstill and restore the faith that I can't speak as a Black person, obviously, but I think there have been.
I mean,
I think there. From what I've seen, I think there certainly have been challenges in that relationship, and I think to restore, there will have to be bold steps to restore and maintain that relationship.
Okay, but
I think.
So what does that look like to you? I mean, what do you think that looks like?
Yeah, I mean, in 2016, I think one of the reasons why Hillary Clinton lost was because a lot of Black and brown folks were disenchanted with the Democratic Party, mm-hmm. and I think what that looks like for now, people, I think probably more because of Donald Trump's actions, more people will be turning out to vote because Donald Trump has proven himself so problematic. We knew it in 2016, but I think it's even more glaringly obvious now that his policies have been so bad towards the Black community, and with COVID-19 in particular, and the health disparities, and not recognizing or acknowledging how much more Black and brown people have been impacted by COVID-19. Then that could be a place where the Democrats start. I think really working to address disparities in health outcomes for Black and brown people, disparity, the what huge wealth gap that black people face in our country. The disparities in education. Of course, there's a criminal justice system. I mean, there are so many different things that have gone unaddressed that I think the Democrats could really work to finally address in the next couple of years.
I see some questions online. I'm going to bring Gianni in real quick. Gianni, any questions online?
Hey, everybody. Yes, so Mayor, the Jacqueline Robinson asks, has there been pressure on the university's athletic department to set up their sports program, particularly from the parents of students who have athletic scholarship?
I think he might have missed the first part. Could you repeat that?
Okay. Has there been pressure on the university's athletic department to fully start up their sports program?
Has there been pressure on
from
the
Jacqueline Robinson?
You got it. Okay.
I would say I don't know for sure. I mean, I don't work for the university, so it's hard for me to say exactly. But I do think there has been some pressure. There are some student athletes that want to be able to play their sports. There has been, I think, famously, there's been pressure. Donald Trump actually put pressure on the Big Ten schools to start up football again, and that is why this weekend, as a matter of fact, the Big Ten Conference started up games again. This is a big concern for us in the community. I actually joined my other several other Big Ten mayors in a letter to the Big Ten Conference asking them to keep in mind the impact that games will have on the community and to keep a close watch on positivity rates and set metrics that are based on data and science about what point it will be so dangerous, so risky to play football games, not just because of the games themselves, but all the celebrations, the partying, the tailgates that happen around the games. At what point will it be so dangerous that they should stop the games from happening?
Gianni, see any other comments online? Okay. Go ahead, Lindsay.
Very quickly, Mayor, I apologize because I had my head down during your comment. I forgot, I'm a veteran sports journalist in addition to a professor, but I completely forgot that Maryland switched to the Big Ten from the ACC. And so when you mentioned that, I was like, oh, God, here we go. This crazy conference alignment. So I'm still trying to catch up to all of that.
Were there any other comments, Gianni?
Yes, there's a comment from Daria Winter. She says, "No, the party has not failed the Black community. What is done on the local level? Black members of the Black Party are involved in getting Black people elected at the local level to be represented in politics. Party politics. Support Black candidates for party offices. For example, how many Blacks are in party offices in Maryland?"
You know that?
I don't know the answer to that. I will say I'm in Prince George's County, and Prince George's County is a majority African American county, so my perspective and what I deal with here on a day-to-day basis is I'm not sure reflective in terms of local politics. There's strong local African American leadership here in the county that hasn't been reflected as well on the state level. Just that we've never had a Black governor in Maryland, for example, which is really astounding given
I didn't actually know
given
that.
given the high Black population here.
Yeah.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. So I learned two things today: that College Park does not have its own police department, and that Maryland, as a state, has never had a Black governor. Interesting.
Yeah, that's something I didn't actually know. We only have a couple more minutes. Did anyone have a burning question they wanted to get in? If not, I have one.
Go for it.
Okay, great.
Go for it.
So, Patrick, when you ran in 2019, there was a candidate. Her name was Lazarliani.
She goes by Zari. Yes, Zari Malsama.
Okay, thank you for saying that for me. who had some very homophobic remarks during the debate, claiming she was compelled to run because of your goal to make the city LGBTQ friendly, and it was totally against her Christian beliefs. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, and how did it make you feel? Also, another question I had before you say that, I look at a lot of articles and I see you referred to as the openly gay mayor. How does that make you feel when you see that?
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I feel like if every time I looked at the papers and I saw the black mayor Antonio or Neo,
Or
sorry, the
even,
black mayor Neo,
or
I
even
would sort of be
the
offended.
open sexual mayor, like that just, I don't know. I don't need to identify as such. But like Neo said, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm just curious.
Yeah, so I don't want to be, known as the gay mayor. I want to be known as the mayor who's doing good things for College Park, who happens to be gay. So
Right.
that's not what I start with when I talk about what I want to do in College Park. It never has been. When Zari, Ms. Malsama, we met. She's been involved in the community and neighborhood watch and things like that for various years, and she was one of the people that I met with when I was first thinking about running for mayor in 2015. We had a time. She told me right off there that she, things like she didn't believe in my sexual orientation, whatever that means. She doesn't. She said right then and there that she would start running against me, and she tried for the first time in 2015 to run. She didn't get enough signatures to get her name on the ballot at that point, and then she ran in 2017 and ran again in 2019. I think she's going to run it and keep on running until as long as I'm on the ballot, she's going to be on the ballot as well. And it is what it is. The city of the residents of College Park do not agree with her that it's a bad thing to have a gay mayor, and that it's a bad thing to promote to be a welcoming community, to promote equal rights for the LGBT community. So she's never going to make much of a difference. But it is distressing to me that her message keeps on getting out there, that she has that platform to speak from. But I'm glad that, and it always heartens me to know that the residents of College Park don't buy into it.
All right. I think that's it for the questions we have for you today. Is it? Anything else, Rob? I'm gonna bring Gianni and just see if we have any comments.
I have a curiosity question, Patrick. I know that during that town hall, or during the discussion when she was making her homophobic remarks from the articles, that approximately half of the people either turned their backs to her or left. How did that resound with you?
Yeah, well, it was heartening to me that people in our community aren't putting up with that. They don't think it's appropriate for her to talk in that sort of hateful way. So I was heartened by that, and a lot of people came up to me afterwards, and even though I kind of knew what to expect just because I knew her and knew what she was about, they wanted to reach out to me and say, that they felt that was inappropriate. So that was heartening and encouraging for me.
All right, Johnny, let's see if we get some comments from online real quick.
Sure. Mike Winter says Herman has a large rural component. The fight between urban areas, the Eastern Shore, and the western part of Maryland for limited state resources is real.
All right.
I don't know if we got all of that.
Yeah, I
Did we
think
get
we're
all
gonna. Let's come back to you. Let's see if we can fix that internet connection, Gianni. Okay.
Okay.
All right, we'll come back to you. But I do see, I see Mel Blaine says Patrick has been super supportive throughout the business journey. I'm forever grateful. Thanks, Patrick Wojahn. Let's see, Rupka says I made it. Oh, Mel Blaine also said Zari has said a lot of crazy things while running. Jeanette Brown says, can Patrick talk more about the path toward politics? Need to get more diverse voices running for real change. How to get a more diverse group of people thinking they should run for mayor or other offices. If you can make that real quick, though.
Yeah, Yeah, it is a good question. Real quick, I'd say just figure out how to do it. If you want to do it, do it. I mean, there are, and I know that women, people of color, are often don't run because they aren't asked to run, and I think if you've ever thought about it, look into ways to do it. Meet with people, talk with people that are in those roles right now. Find mentors, and just do it.
Okay, awesome. All right, Patrick. So thank you for joining us. Fantastic interview, but you are going to stick
Yes.
around. Or wait, before we go, I do want to show one last video, because one thing we do is we do enjoy our shenanigans. So so on this on Twitter. So, before we finish the interview, I had to share the moves.
This is what virtual conferencing is all about. There was a guy who tried to teach us the guy is a Twitter guy who does the like the history of dance in like 5 minutes, and he goes through all these different dances, and you can try and do it along with him, and that was my sad attempt.
So for those listening on the podcast, you'll have to go and watch our clips, because you can see Patrick doing his shimmies. Great moves, Patrick. All right. Thanks again for joining us, Patrick. Again, don't go anywhere. We'll see you shortly, okay?
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Good stuff from the mayor. Good stuff from the mayor.
Great interview. Ran a little longer than I thought. I was looked down the time, and I'm like, oh, we're way behind. Okay. All right. So we're going to move on to our hot topics.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
The way hot topics works is one of our hosts will start us out, and they will let you know if their topic is a truth, lie, or shenanigans. They'll tell you what's going on in the world, and then we'll talk about it until we see our friend Gingy. Gingy will let us know when time is up, and we'll bring in Gianni. Let's see if our internet's a little bit better. Let's hope. To share your questions and comments. Gianni, still there?
Is it good? Yes, I'm here. Can everybody hear me well?
We can hear you. We can't see you. We'll work it out.
Okay.
All right. And then we'll share your comments, and we'll talk a little bit more. So make sure you're talking online to us, and we'll get those comments out. Once we're done, we're going to the next host and the next topic. And remember, so let's go. So we're going to start out with